You're listening to America's Diesel Podcast. Like in California, there's two things that you can always find. It's, you know, a good taqueria and sushi.
Dude, I love it.
They're
It's
everywhere.
so good. It's so good.
Yeah. Oh, man,
I used to
miss
only
good
order
sushi.
sushi with like, there was this, it was, what is it, the one downtown with the Wave?
There's a Wave in sushi.com.
So it was
I think
the
it's the
Wave.
Wave you're talking about, yeah.
And they
have
had
a steak
one
one.
with steak.
Yeah.
And that would be the only one that I would get. But then I opened my horizons a little bit and started getting different stuff. And I'm so freaking glad that I did. I love eel sauce too.
That's
You ever-
good.
Dude,
Yeah.
I don't know what part of the eel they're using, but I like it. I like it.
It's
Like a lot.
100% eel ejaculate.
On purpose.
like it a
I do
lot.
want to keep this as part of the intro. So say the serial number real quick and everybody gets into the serial number.
That's fine.
Okay. All right. But yeah,
Dude.
that's one of the, if we just got the live session with you guys and we talked about having family around and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's one of the things that me and my wife are like, we used to get sushi all the time. If we had family in town, I think we'd get sushi more.
Dude, I love it. I love it. I love it so much.
Also, just not being in California. That's fuck California first off, but I do not have any hate towards their burritos and the sushi down there.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Everybody, thanks for tuning in. This is Ben, Tyler, and Corey talking about sushi and tacos and burritos and shit on America's Diesel Podcast.
Decent fucking horchata.
Diesel fucking tough. Hit me,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
The big old wet burritos on a plate, like 500 degrees coming out
Yep.
with some old lady walking with it barehanded.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Called
right
you, just called you mijo.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
Oh,
I
mijo.
love you.
now. What?
I don't know your name, man, but I love you.
What are we talking
A little
about?
bit of menudo too.
Yeah.
What the hell are we talking about right now? What is it?
Gracias.
What kind of food are we talking about right now?
Mexican food, man.
Are you gonna have an Asian person call you mijo?
Yeah.
Well, the way you said it was like kind of Asian. Mijo. You got some mijo?
Te homa.
Mijo, yeah, mijo.
Yeah, no, it's
No. Works better Asian. Not Asian food. Not Asian.
I want you to know, Tyler, I'm both laughing with and at you on this one.
Well,
I'm just laughing
I love
at
you.
you.
I love you so much, man.
we were talking about Asian food. And you guys brought in Mexican food.
Oh fuck.
The shops I used to work in San Diego, there was, come here, hold my pocket, mijo, come here.
hold my pocket.
Yeah. It's so you don't get lost, and they'd pull their pocket out
So
so,
what
you
does
can hold
mijo?
it.
What does mijo mean?
It's
Little
like
one.
boy,
Yeah.
son.
Little boy?
Yeah.
Mija, mijo.
Oh,
So I always be like, you know, say that we had a mechanic named Chavez, appropriately, San Diego, right? And I asked him a question. Can I borrow a tool? Okay, hold my pocket, mijo, come here. And he would literally make me hold his fucking pocket. I was like 20 years old, following this like 5'5" Mexican dude,
hold my pocket.
making me hold it. Come here, and go hold my pocket. Come on. I'm like, Chavez, I'm not holding you. Fuck you, hold my pocket. I'm not giving you the tools. You hold my pocket. Fuck. So I walk across Pet Boys,
Holding the man's pocket.
holding this tiny man's pocket, big old gringo. And he's probably just like, ha, 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 ha.
My mijo.
Fuck you, Chavez.
Yeah.
Pinche huevo.
Pinche güero. No mama's way, pinche güero.
All right.
The sore throat kind of works out for the
Yeah,
Mexican accent there. This is America's Diesel Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. This is Ben, Tyler, and Corey. As you can tell, my voice is slowly on its way out. You can find us on Google Play, SoundCloud. You know where to find us. Buy your parts at Diesel Power Products. Check out our Facebook group. If you're buying parts at Diesel Power Products, make sure and type in podcast. It'll let your sales technician know, because it does help us, because these microphones ain't cheap and all other kind of shit. Okay, so before we get too far off of burritos, okay?
Yeah.
The one thing that I still have not found in Spokane,
Yeah.
and maybe it's just a California thing, maybe it's a Bay Area thing, I don't know. I used to be able to get burritos that were, like the size of a fucking football,
Yeah.
and they would come out on a plate with large edges, and is basically in like just drenched in red sauce with a little bit of beans on there and some brown sauce. And they were always called wet burritos. And then whenever I order a wet burrito up here, they look at me like I'm speaking fucking French. I'm like, can I get just a big wet burrito? I'm like, what? I'm like,
Have you gone to like Rancho Chico?
I've been to a bunch of Mexican restaurants up here.
De Leon's has a good one, but it's not like a California style, like massive.
Have you been to Azteca?
You mean basically the Pacific Northwest Chevys? Also, by the way, I miss Chevys. And Chevys is, it's obviously Americanized, but man, you could go everywhere and get good chips and salsa, and their happy hours.
Do you know who has the best chips and
epic.
salsa though?
What?
Tecate.
Really?
Dude, their salsa is amazing. I have once bought their salsa in a tub and brought it home.
Nice.
It is it's the best in town.
Oh.
And they have these enchilada, chicken enchilada with this creme sauce.
Cream fraiche. Cream fraiche.
Claim fresh.
It's like a white, creamy, like cheesy sauce.
Is it?
I knew it was coming, but yeah, yes, it's
Is it
delicious.
white and creamy and cheesy?
Dude, it is so fucking good, dude. I don't care what you say. I don't care. It's so amazing.
I'm sure
It's
it
the
is.
best thing you'll
Once
ever
it
have.
hits your lips, wipe it up a little bit.
I put it in my hair.
Especially funny because he ain't got no hair.
Put it all over my beard.
I was trying to explain to Jesse, like, how in Southern California you would literally have, like, people driving around the neighborhood like an ice cream truck.
With creme sauce in their hair?
Selling, like, tamales and elotes and
Oh,
shit
yeah.
like that. Like, he found that bizarre. I was like, no, people literally drive down the streets and sell you food.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Like,
You're making me hungry. And I have
Well,
no
there's
food in my
dinner.
house right now.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, you think to yourself, I'm not buying tamales out of the back of the car. Those are the best fucking tamales you're going to buy.
Right.
Because someone's grandma made them.
Yeah.
And it's probably some recipe that's been handed down for like generations to her. And she makes them with her bare hands, probably barefoot in her like kitchen. Because it's the only thing she knows how to do.
let's be honest, you're getting a dozen of tamales for $20. Let's go.
Yeah.
Did the meat inside make a rough, or
Don't
a
care.
meow,
Don't fucking care.
meow?
Tasted good.
No.
Don't care. As long as it didn't have razor blades or fentanyl, I don't give a shit. Fentanyl was not an issue back then.
Yeah.
No, probably not.
No, it was all. Would that have been? No, that wouldn't have been ketamine. That would have been
Just heroin.
probably just Just go fast and crack, man.
Just, yeah.
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 All right. So let's get to some diesel or automotive car.
All right.
All right.
I'm going to pose a question to you guys
Okay.
because our last podcast was regarding if lifts add value to a truck.
Right.
Or
And I
depreciate it, yeah.
Yeah, and we came to the conclusion it depends.
Yep. Definitive answer.
Yeah.
Um,
but more or less leveling kit. Okay.
Yeah.
Bigger than 4 inches. Unfortunately, not okay.
And quality of kit.
So what add-ons for diesel pickups do you think add to the value? And
Like-
don't say your fucking steering wheel cover.
Preventative maintenance stuff. I would
So-
say like coolant filters, fuel systems with good filters.
Okay. Yeah, I see what you're going with.
You know,
Okay.
the like oil filter bypass systems, stuff
Mhm.
like that. I think you're always okay with. I think on certain trucks, some turbo upgrades, whether it be like a fleece cheetah or a calibrated
Mhm.
power charger or a BD screamer, are good things that are not going to hurt, would possibly help, especially if a guy is familiar with, especially like 6.7, like early 6.7 Cummins. We all know the turbos absolute suck ass in those
Yeah.
trucks.
Yeah.
So if you got, a truck for sale that's got a fleece cheetah on it or something that's, been documented done, then I think it's going to help. But some of those things don't necessarily, it's not going to help a lot. It's just going to be able to allow you to get like the most for what it's worth
I think
as the truck.
I think what you're thinking of, it doesn't hurt.
Right. It doesn't
Like,
hurt, but
Putting a cheetah doesn't necessarily say like, oh, okay, you could have gone with a stock turbo. For,
yeah,
Yeah.
like you put a cheetah on it, you can get $1,000 more out of the truck. No. But you could get, like, if book value of the truck is 30 grand and you put a cheetah on there, like ask 30 grand. And if the truck's clean and it meets those criteria of it being 30 grand.
And I think a lot of it also has to do with just the overall status of the truck. One upgraded
Yeah.
turbo with a truck that's been beat to fuck,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean anything to me. That
Right.
means that you've beat this thing with an inch of its life the whole time you've owned it.
Yeah.
And then it came time to replace one thing and you went nice with it.
Right. And you don't have any other supporting mods.
Yeah.
Like you stock fuel system, but you got a cool turbo on there.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I still have to do the work. That doesn't really.
Yeah. So I would say, trying to think of a good general rule of thumb, then we might dissect it a little bit more. But if it doesn't involve the word custom, you could pretty much hang your hat on the fact that's not going to hurt you.
Yeah.
If you, and this may be a stretch also for some of you guys too, but if it's not carb legal, that's another kind of good metric to go with.
Well, I was just going to bring up, instead of like modifications, does deletes help or hurt the value of a truck?
In my opinion, right now, if I were to, again, we don't condone this, but if I was going to buy a deleted truck, I have very, very strict standards that I would need to see for it. And if anything didn't
where's the
line
tuning?
up,
Who's it from?
give me the device.
Yep. Like,
Don't
I
you
want
have
to make
Easy
sure.
Link?
Yeah.
Cool. Log me in and let me change the password. Like I want all of this shit right now.
Yep. Yeah.
And even if it's like, if the tuning is not someone that I know of, I don't want it. Like I legit like just nah.
What I'm kind of getting at, even just with at this point in the conversation, with like modifications like that, like engine stuff or performance stuff, none of it really helps the value of the truck.
Right.
It just, as long as it's done right, you can just sell it for basically what it's worth. So what does help the value of a truck? What kind of add-ons would? I'm leaning more towards more of the quote-unquote accessory side of things, being it toolboxes, amp steps.
I hate buying amp steps, but if the truck had amp steps that I was looking at, like, fuck yeah, stoked.
Like a rack system that has all these add-ons.
Drop-in plastic bed liner.
Okay.
What are you talking about?
That would hurt the value of the truck because he's trying to hide something.
Hurts the value.
He's trying to hide something, obviously. A bed liner would help the value of a truck.
Right.
But, I mean, there's really not a lot, like, I mean, good wheels and nice wheels and tires.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the biggest red flags for me on a truck that's built cheaply is cheap tires.
Like Iron Man's?
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. No, but I mean, truly. I mean, it truly does.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got a set of tires on there that you've never heard of the brand, like, he's on a budget.
Yeah.
Dude's on a budget. So probably everything else on this truck was on a budget.
Yeah.
You see a guy with like some Nittos on there and some nice like name brand wheels, like nice wheels.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he obviously took care of it. He probably put good oil in it. He didn't put the O'Reilly's brand of engine oil in.
Right.
Or the cheap knockoff fuel filters, or
you can also tell a lot about the oil filter that's on there.
Yeah.
You look at the oil filter, you can kind of tell, you can gauge the type of maintenance person that was on this truck.
Yeah.
Does it have a factory oil filter on there? Mm-hmm. Okay. Either they got it done at the dealership or they okay, factory is good enough. That's good for me.
Yeah.
Does it have like a Kmart brand filter on there? That's fucking shitty.
Kirkland.
Does it have Fram on there? That means they did their own oil change, but they were also on a budget.
Yeah.
Does it have a Mobil 1 filter on there? Okay. Mobil 1, in my opinion, that's a better filter that you would find at a parts store.
Yeah.
Does it have a Delco filter on it? Like,
how do you feel about the K&N oil filters?
I know I can't remember if they're rebranding their own or not.
I'm pretty sure they're just like a Fram that's rebranded.
Yeah, I know,
honestly.
Right? I don't dislike them. I can tell you that so like K&N oil filters have been out even when we were in high school.
Yeah.
So I remember being at the parts counter, like honestly looking at oil filters because I'd sell them all the time.
Well, K&N was like, oh, that's the expensive one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember holding a Purelator oil filter compared to a K&N oil filter, and I could squish the metal casing of the Purelator, but I couldn't do that at the K&N. I was like, oh, okay, well at least they're doing something, you know?
Yeah.
And when you look at the O-ring and when you look at inside of it, like The Purelator, like the holes they drill on it, you can still see there's like shards kind of hanging out there. They didn't like deburr or anything. And the K&N one, like there's no shards hanging out.
Yeah.
And the oil, the O-ring is nice.
Yeah.
You know, it's supple.
Yeah.
You know, the groove that it fits in is good. You know, and it just,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. And it has a little spot in the bottom to put your 3/8" ratchet or a wrench on it.
I've never used one of those.
I fucking love those.
I've never used one.
As a 7.3 guy, I love that shit.
You would.
That's half the not half.
Why would you even need it on that oil filter? Like, isn't it just hanging off the side of the engine? You just grab it with your bare hands.
Oh, you totally
take it
can.
off?
But it's 7.3 oil filters are notorious for
Being over tightened by bros putting
that as well. But just because of, and again, I used to be like, I was a lube tech. Like I've changed a ton of oil filters on different cars. Some of them I know that there's no matter how tight it is, I can get a purchase on it and I can rip it off with my hands. Some of them I know I'm not gonna be able to reach, but if I could, I could rip it off. Something about 7.3 oil filters, maybe with the location of it or the vibrations, because I like a box of rocks or the heat cycles it goes through. Every 7.3 I've had, and again, I don't tighten my oil filters down excessively because I've been that guy.
You don't need to, yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to. And they're always just an asshole and a half to get off. And having and to get a proper oil filter wrench on there, it doesn't always work that great. So you have to use like even like the normal claw ones that adjust as you
No, just
tighten
like
them
a
close.
band one on it and just
the where it is on the frame, you have to do it at an angle, and so you lose it. Like it's
you
exposed.
should be used to the angle.
I know the cock angle. Yeah. You can't. You guys, if you're listening, you can't see it, but I just totally mimic it, dig in my mouth, anyways. But
Like on the knees,
laying on my back underneath. You know, I got gloves on. You know, maybe some glasses, just ready to get hit. You know, but and because they're so big, most oil filter wrenches don't fit on them.
You have to use two hands. Yeah.
2 hands. Yeah, and get your elbows into it, man. Yeah. So having that spot at the bottom to crack it loose with a 3/8" ratchet is actually super beneficial for me. And I've
just never used one. I've just grabbed it like a man and took it off.
Yeah. Again, in all of the shops I worked at, like, all right, we're gonna get a little story time here. Okay. This makes me sound so bad. I don't know why I decided to sell this fucking story. So after working in a shop for a little while, and all my friends were going, they were going to college. I was kind of like sort of going to college, mostly working, and they were all like gym rats.
Yeah.
I was not. I still was not like fat or anything like that, but I was just, they have time to go to the gym and go to school. I don't.
Yeah.
And the one thing that always fucking pissed them off was the fact that I could physically move more weight than them just because I was working in a shop. Like I was like, it's the whole like blue collar dad type thing. Like he may not look very strong, but the dude will fucking wreck a wall. Like,
yeah.
And they hated the fact that no matter what they did, my forearms were always fucking jacked compared to theirs. They would sit and I'm like, dude, I turn wrenches all day. I literally do this all fucking day.
Yeah.
With heavy things and like all my weights on like the only way you're going to get this is unless you actually spend a day doing forearm exercises or you start working with your hands. And that's it. They fucking hated it. And I always knew, like, it was a source of pride for me. Every oil filter that I could take off without having to use a wrench, that was my thing. I was like, I have to be able to just fucking grab it. Just, like, I don't care if my wrist hurts. I don't care if my hand starts burning. Like, I'm going to pull that fucker off. Like, every single time. I was heartbroken when I couldn't do it on my 7.3. I had 2 hands up there, like barely, like my legs start moving underneath because I'm like holding on to like leg on the tire, like trying to hold on to, like, I'm gonna fucking get you. Couldn't get it. I feel like I failed. Yeah. I feel like I fucking failed. Yeah. Because I can't do that with my hands. I did. I totally fucking failed. You failed. So that being said, guys, if all your friends are gym rats and you're not, and they think that they're stronger than you, just wait until like you guys start lifting things up. Yeah. It's quite fucking hilarious.
Well, yeah, because you're only used to like a single type of motion.
Yeah.
Whereas like a guy in a shop lifting things, he doesn't give a fuck about form.
No.
He's just lifting.
Especially in your 20s. Yeah. Absolutely not.
Fuck about form.
Like I remember one of them came to, like, we got lunch one day or something like that, and he happened to be by there, and like I was on the tire machine, and I would. And again, this is not like they're not big and like that heavy, but just it was completely foreign to him. Yeah. So I was changing wheels. It must have been like a Honda Civic or something like that, just like with some 14 or 15 inch Steelies on there. Yeah. With like a hub bore about that big or something like that. Yeah. With the tire on there, I just stick my 3 fingers in there, grab by the hub bore, pick it up, put it on.
Yeah. All back.
All back. Yeah, all back and fingers and arm. And he's like, did you just fucking lift that up by your fingers? I'm like, yeah. Like, what? You didn't bend down? Like, no. If I bend down, I got to bend up.
Yeah.
Just bend down, grab it with my 3 fingers, throw it on the fucking tire machine. It's a steel wheel. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
He's like, why don't you use 2 hands? Because my other hand's holding the tool. Like, you think I'm going to put this tool down so I can pick the fucking wheel up?
You fucking stage in front of this thing, get my fucking legs ready, maybe do a couple stretches? What do you want me to do?
Absolutely not.
I'm trying to get this done.
I warmed up with a 24 ounce of fucking Monster and a cigarette. All right, let's rock.
Yeah. And I had to use a freaking rubber mallet to beat the shit out of the tire to get it off the hub because it was seized on there. So that was my warm up. So, and it was horizontal.
Yeah. And of course, that's been using with my first impact gun I ever bought, the yellow one, the what do they call it, the Thunder Stick. Yeah, the ones that everybody else in my shop, they literally made me give it back. Really? It was so fucking loud. It was the tool truck guy got me.
Took the muffler out of it.
Oh no, I was like, I want the biggest, baddest impact gun you got. This is the only tool I'm going to buy. I have all Craftsman shit. Like, it's time for me to get an impact gun. He's like, you want the big bad one? I'm like, I want the big bad one.
Yeah.
And he saw the 18-year-old coming in, like ready to rock.
I want it.
I want that one. He's like, this one, and keep in mind, this would have been like 2005.
Yeah.
It was obviously pneumatic. No one was using electric at that point. And it was, I think he said it was like, it was obviously a 1/2-inch drive. It was heavy as fuck.
Yeah.
And they were, no one was even using composite guns yet. Everybody's still using metal guns. So this thing weighed like 9 fucking pounds. Basically broke my wrist every time I used it.
It's got the equivalent of 7,000 horsepower.
Yeah. And it was, I think it had like 1,800 breakaway foot-pounds of torque or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Completely overkill for working on Civics, okay? Because let's be real, I was at the Pet Boys right by San Diego State.
We use this for semi-trucks.
Yeah. I want the biggest 1/2-inch one you got.
Yeah.
And you gave me that shit, and I put on this. I was busting off studs and shit. Boom! 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 And everybody in my shop, and it had that NASCAR sound.
Yeah.
They were just like,
we'll just like crank your wrist over, like break your wrist if you just let it rip.
I'd have to like pick it up with almost 2 hands, like get it on there, and like have to hold it like 2-handed just to use it.
Yeah.
And when I was done using it, my arm like fall to the ground.
Yeah.
After like 2 weeks, I was like, so everybody in the shop's pissed at me.
Yeah.
Can I sell this back to you and get something a little bit more normal? He was like, we can do that.
I would have just kept it. Fuck it. I would have put some race stickers on it and shit. Maybe like some counterweights on the back to ease maybe a second handle.
I was starting to, because I would at that time too, like we were short on service riders, so I was literally like in the area riding up people and then going to the back, grabbing their tires and going and doing their tires for them. Yeah. And so I'd be typing on the keyboard like shaking my hand like I'm just fucking feeling my fingertips. What the fuck is going on here? And also I push it goes like boom, 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 boom. Oh
yeah.
That's what's going on.
It's like I got good news and bad news, sir. Yeah. Your wheels and tires are on. Half of them are cross-threaded. Yeah. But they ain't going nowhere.
They ain't ever coming off.
That's extra Loctite.
That's extra Loctite. Yeah. Free Loctite,
they say cross-thread's better than no thread. Yep. Just saying.
I don't know how to tell you this, but this is the next guy's problem.
Yeah. If you get a flat on the side of the road, just call me.
Yeah.
I'll help you out. I did this, not you.
Call me on my flip phone.
Yeah.
You got a daughter, right? Okay, yeah. Call me on my flip phone. Truth be told, that was fucking slated that shop. Again, Pet Boys right next to San Diego State.
Yes.
You do the math.
Yeah.
You do the fucking math. It's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to get too far into that. But okay, yeah. So things that would potentially add value to your truck, not an impact gun.
Yeah,
I can tell you that much. Let's see, WeatherTech floor mats. I think that's an addition on there. If someone actually has a book of receipts, or if they've done the work themselves, they at least kept a log.
Yeah,
of when and what was done. That means a lot to me. other than that, I mean, as
keeping
far
your truck clean, that's the best thing you can do to add value to your truck.
It really
or
is.
to maintain it, just keeping it clean.
And that really goes a long way.
Yeah.
You know, and I get that higher mileage trucks, they're not always going to be dent free. They're not, I mean,
Right.
you may have a tear in the seat, but that doesn't mean that there needs to be like a black mark where you rest your arm.
Right.
You know, it's
Your
little
dirty
things
arm
like
and
that.
your dirty fingers.
Exactly. Wiping off all the damn labels and the buttons and shit. But, you know, that kind of stuff. So a super dirty truck with an SMB intake and a fleece cheetah and like a fast system on there and stuff like that. If I can tell the truck's been worked in, but it's still at least been cleaned on a semi-regular basis, that means a lot to me.
Otherwise, on the other end of that, he could have the best parts in the world on this truck. If that son of a bitch is filthy, dirty, nasty, I don't care how many nice parts he's got. It doesn't help the value whatsoever.
Also, if you're going to post a truck, why aren't you cleaning it?
Yeah.
Like, I never understood that.
Yeah.
That's a
Like, I've never
Some people
understood
just don't care.
the like, here's the truck, it's dirty, but
I
whatever.
blue booked it, put it in excellent condition. This is what they say it's worth. It's like, well,
Yeah.
dude, this isn't excellent.
And I'm talking like, I've seen pictures of trucks where they don't even like take the trash out of the back seat.
Do you know which one I don't understand?
What?
Also with the buttons.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen where guys don't have floor mats and they fucking literally work a hole in the carpet?
Yes.
Where their
Yeah.
footrest is?
drives me nuts.
How do you just leave your foot in one spot that amount of time? Like, are your legs going numb? Like, even when I'm driving, like I move my feet around a little bit. Like, I'm not just like in one spot, like digging in the floor.
I think part of that is the, you know, how many miles have you put on one vehicle?
Well, honestly, I don't know for sure. All I can tell you is from like my brand new trucks. I put 80,000 on my EcoDiesel.
Okay. Okay.
So I did do that.
Because I noticed that I started doing that on my Ranger, and
What, burning a hole in the carpet?
yeah, I was going through. I never put actually good floor mats in there. Because again, I was like working at Pet Boys, so I would just do whatever carpet mats they had in there that matched. But yeah, my heel would put a spot through there.
Wow.
Hmm.
Weird.
I do also. It also depends on your footwear. A lot of guys that wear boots like all the time, that hard heel digging in there and twisting, that will do it a lot more than just regular shoes will.
Yeah. Never experienced that. Move my feet around.
Yeah.
I mean, my first
tap
purchase
dancing.
usually is WeatherTechs anyway.
Oh, there's
so.
Chris and Peyton.
Yeah.
What are these assholes doing?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, we're live right now. We're on a podcast. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
They're stopping by. Yeah. Get fucked.
Bitches.
But yeah,
yeah.
I would say WeatherTechs are definitely a clutch move.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's not that much. I mean, you have to have like a well-built truck. Like I would think, but this is something obviously you pay for when you get the truck. But like an AEV truck that's been like outfitted by AEV,
Mm-hmm.
like that. But that just already itself is more valuable, so therefore could hold more value. But yeah, I mean, some of the accessories though, like grill guards, like those stupid fender flares. Like I will never buy a truck again with fender flares on it.
Yeah.
Because those just destroy the fenders. Even with you have to, if you're going to do it right, and I'm not even sure how long this would last, but there's guys that will clear bra between the rubber piece of the seal on the fender flare and the fender flare.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long that lasts, because if it's working through the paint, it's probably going to work itself through the clear bra too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a extra layer of protection, but
No, but sorry, Corey, you want a cough or sneeze right now? On your old doing it. Nope, nothing. Okay.
But yeah, there's not much more.
That's the most deadpan stare I've ever seen you have, Corey. By the way,
How much more I would say that would actually increase value of the truck?
you need a cough.
No, I'm good. I'm looking through it.
The same way. I just chewed the last bit of my cough dropping. Did not go down well.
Yeah, I don't think there honestly is much that increases the value of a truck.
And again, I think the best way to increase value of the truck is have a truck that's nicer than everybody else's that's for sale.
And just take care
I mean,
of it,
that's-
honestly.
Yeah. I mean, things that I would say, let's talk about modifications that could, really decrease the value. Stuff that I would look at and be like, no, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Delete is instant for me.
I'd say a delete is, it's hard for me because I've never really looked at trucks that even have emissions on there. I don't know if I'm ever going to have one of them. But if I were to, it would, again, super specific criteria.
Spray paint, plasti dip, any sort of customization on a truck, whether it be stupid, dumbass emblems you bought from Walmart that you think are cool, any sort of, I've seen some trucks with like stupid like headliners that they like rattle can spray glued onto the headliner and customize this and customize that, like any sort of personalization on a truck, I think decreases the value of the truck.
I would agree. Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of tasteful mods you can do to a truck that is universally cool throughout everybody. And I think we've gone over those in the last episode and some here, like floor mats and like a nice suspension system, like a Carly system on a Ram or something like that. But any sort of like personalization, whether it be what I hate is when people drill holes in the dash to put things in the dash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then take said thing out of the truck and now you've got holes in the dash.
Yeah.
Whether it be like a radio, like CB radio, some people like that shit. I didn't mean to like say it like that. I felt like that was a little aggressive when I said that. Some people like radios.
I like radios.
Yeah.
I like CB radios.
I like radios too, but drilling holes in the dash for stuff like that is stupid.
Yeah. I think that the rule of thumb for me is, and this goes for anything engine, whatever, anything that I can't actually put back to stock.
Yeah.
Kind of irritates me.
Wiring is huge. People doing shitty, spotty wiring on things. Where you look at the battery post and there's 15 Walmart branded eyelets that are just crimped on with no heat shrink whatsoever.
Yeah.
Stupid. I hate light bars. Unless it's in that has a nice name brand mount with a nice light bar, any sort of freaking eBay piece of shit light bar is stupid. Roof mounted lights, stupid.
Oh God, no.
Even people cutting holes in bumpers and putting cheap lights in there, I don't like that either. Especially because more than likely, if they went cheap on the lights, they went cheap on the wiring, and I can guarantee you they use the same butt connectors that you found in your $5.99 toolkit that came with that little shitty hammer and those stupid screwdrivers. Like, they just came with a 5-pack of these little butt connectors that have that hard plastic. They're usually yellow or red or blue. You know what I'm talking about. Like, stuff like that. You can see cheap. Like, and if it's a common occurrence throughout the truck where you're seeing, it's got lights in here and, that's kind of cool, blah, blah. If it's cheap all the way around, it's cheap everywhere else. Like, that's usually the case. I mean, it's highly unlikely a guy with like nice wheels and tires on his truck, a nice suspension is going to have cheap lights. Yeah. Like he's not going to have that.
Well, here's a good one. Simple things done poorly. Well, like wiring in lights, not that hard.
Yeah.
Okay. But done poorly.
Yeah.
Like it kind of sets a precedent.
Yeah.
Or a, what's the other thing I'm thinking of? Like, let's say they put a toolbox in the way they installed the toolbox in the bed.
Self-tappers?
Exactly. Or
I looked right in your soul when I said self-tappers.
I made the call.
Yeah.
I made the call.
That was a different thing. But the same thing. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, but again, that was also not...
Plastic bed liners.
True. I guess I'll be alone. I'll die on this hill.
I know you will. I'm going to bury you when you die in a plastic bed liner.
Just put me and I'll slide down the hill.
I will. I'll sit in there with you with your dead body. We'll go down the hill.
Feel the rhythm.
Feel the ride. Yeah. It's bobsled time. And I can hear you just now be like, this is probably faster than you've ever been when you're 7'3". Huh?
You piece of shit.
Just sliding down the hill with a dead body.
Just smacking you. Oh, Jesus. I'll slide you right to your funeral.
I can see explain to my wife, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Okay, Lynette.
I don't need pallbearers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, this
This is how it's
I
gonna
have
go.
this in writing from him. Okay, this is what he wanted. And the shitty part is, my wife would be like, "I don't fucking doubt it. He's a dumbass.
Yeah.
So do what you gotta do."
Yeah. Yeah.
Idiot.
Oh Lord.
Airbags.
Airbags.
Ooh.
Airbags done right.
Airbags done right. I don't mind having with the airline thing. I've seen some pretty stupid places to put the airlines.
Yeah.
My preferred method on most trucks would be license plate bolts. I think that is a
It's the
great,
easiest spot.
clean, nice area to put those if you can. Like I know on my truck we couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I bought that other mount and I put it up and under the truck on the hitch, which is in the middle of the truck. It's not getting a lot of spray from the tires because I do have mud flaps too. And that was a great spot for them. Like I've never had an issue. I keep the caps on there. I haven't used my airbags in forever. So I could probably take them off and sell them honestly at this point because I really don't need them. But yeah, doing it right, making sure the hoses are routed properly. Like I like the way that we routed the hoses on my truck. Yeah. What would be another one?
Snipping your damn zip tie tails.
Yes. Yeah. 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 I am a huge fan of going the extra mile with wiring and buying that sheathing.
Yeah.
Just buying that sheathing. That stuff is so cheap. And you could it is amazing how much better it looks under your hood.
Yeah.
Instead of having your random colors of wiring. Because I mean, we've all done it. I've grabbed wiring just out of my toolbox. It's like, oh, that's the same gauge. It's a different color, but I'll use it. I don't care.
Should you get this done?
Yeah, yeah. But if you cover it up with a sheathing, one, it looks like you did a professional job. It hides the fact that you use 3 different colors of wires for whatever you're doing. But I think, too, just making sure your wire connections are good connections and waterproof, especially if they're exposed to the elements, whether you use those butt connectors that are the heat shrink butt connectors, or just you could use those cheap butt connectors, heat shrink over it.
Yeah.
I mean, that'll hold everything in place too, because we all know how shitty those things are.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately you'd want to get a good, if you're going to use a butt connector, get a good one. I try not to use them, as much as possible, but do your due diligence in protecting that wiring. I mean, corrosion's a real thing and it happens quick.
Yeah.
Way quicker than you think it's going to happen.
It really does. Especially in certain spots like up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like a turbo that would, a big single turbo would turn me off of a truck, but I could potentially turn that back to stock. So it wouldn't necessarily, they wouldn't be a turn away feature for me, but it wouldn't necessarily add any money.
Dude, I took a call for a guy the other day. It was a 2015 Ram. He told me it had an S480 single, and he was looking for injectors and a pump. And I told the guy, usually get the call.
Are you sure?
We usually get the call like an S475 or something.
Yeah.
He's like, it's an S480. I'm like, okay, that's like,
It's big.
I'm like, dude, honestly, he's like, the truck drives fine. I'm like, dude, then it's not an S480.
Or it's compound and no one told you that.
Yeah, he's like, no, it's a single turbo. I was like, here's the deal. For one, that is a single turbo on a truck is ginormous. That truck would not, especially with stock feeling, that truck is going to drive like absolute shit.
Yeah.
Like terrible. It would be terrible. So he either thinks it has an S480 and it actually doesn't, or you never drove the truck. And if it actually has an like I looked up just like a generic, obviously there's, different sizes you could probably get of an S480, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, dude, the exhaust housing's ginormous. The compressor wheel is ginormous.
Yeah.
Like the turbine wheel, ginormous. I'm like, dude, that's not going to work.
No.
like the feeling that I'd have to sell you for this truck is so obnoxious that this truck would be completely undrivable.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to work. And I was like, you need to look up the specs of this turbo and tell me exactly what it is. Because a lot of people will think they have, something bigger than they don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Or they'll just say it like oh, it's an S400, but it's got maybe it had an 80 turbine or something. Like, and they think, oh, S400, S480, there, there it is.
It's a 47280.
Yeah, because I told the guy, I was like, if you're telling me the truck drives good, it doesn't have an S480.
Yeah.
And in order for us to sell you injectors and a pump, I need to know what turbo's on this truck, and it's not an
100%.
S480.
Yeah.
Like, the guy was adamant, though. I was like, dude, there's no way. There's no way. No, that was stock fueling, dude. What do you, that's not gonna, like, I can't even imagine how that truck would drive with a single S480. It was like an 83 millimeter compressor with like, just outrageous. I'm like, I even told him, I'm like, honestly, sir, I was like, that turbo is typically used as the low pressure turbo in a compound setup.
Yeah, and even then it's big.
And even that is like that's like a 1500 horsepower compound setup.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if he ever called back, but
That's a lot.
that's a giant turbo for a stock fueled truck. And for him to say it drives good, I guarantee it's not an S480 on there. He's got something else.
Yeah, something else happening there.
It's an S400 base turbo with maybe, like we talked about, like an 80.
If it actually drives good, he's probably like an S468 on there or some shit like that.
Probably.
Yeah.
But not in the 80s. Like, I literally just looked up specs for just a base S480 turbo, and it was, I can't remember the size, but it was obviously 80. Like, I mean, it's a giant turbo. It's like a T6, like fucking 5-inch outlet.
Yeah.
Like, it's
a party turbo.
No, bro. And then he was asking about an engine brake, and that's where I kind of lost him. I was like, dude,
Are you
he's
towing with this motherfucker?
he wanted a sound of he wanted to sound like a semi truck. His customer said that he wanted to sound like a semi truck. I'm like, well, you should buy a semi truck.
Yeah. And guess what? You can use the same fucking turbo on it because that's how big it is.
I was just like, okay, this conversation's obviously going nowhere because you don't know exactly what you have.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming you. If this is what the customer told you and you're just now trying to find parts for it, I understand. But what he told you is wrong.
Yeah. Also, sir, if you didn't have the wherewithal to question him yourself on that, walk away.
Yeah.
This isn't. I trust.
Yeah,
me,
don't
man.
ever take a customer that asks for them to make it sound like a semi truck with the jakes on.
No,
That's a red flag.
What I'm telling you, as far as like advice to the
with a
shop
turbo,
owner, like if you don't know enough to ask that guy, really single S480, on that truck with stock fueling. If you don't have enough wherewithal to ask him about that on your own, like, and it's no I'm sure you're a great shop. Maybe you've worked on a bunch of other stuff before, but you don't want none of this. Don't do this. Is not your first one. Don't do this to yourself, please, dear God. I gave him a little bit of some schooling. I was like, dude, just do me a favor. I was like, just call me back. Yeah,
just call us back. Get this. He's like, because I think he got the specs for the turbo on a sheet somewhere.
Sure,
I was like, get it and call us back. I was like, that's the only way we can get you into the right fueling.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is, in fact, what you say it is, it's your wallet. It's going to get expensive real fast.
Yeah.
Like real fast.
Yeah. Let me guess. Stock 68 RFE. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys. 40s, 342s. Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes. It's
Perfect.
It's great.
Yeah.
Great.
This truck is doomed for disaster already.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to about wrap this episode up. We greatly appreciate all you guys tuning in. Hope you enjoy this one, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and check us out at dieselpowerproducts.com.